So is this a go? Everybody was allowed to the webinar. Okay, so it's 5 p.m. in Belgium and 6 p.m. in Bulgaria. So I think it's the time to start this webinar. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. I'm Charlotte. I work for Libraries Without Borders in Belgium, and I'm here with colleagues from Libraries Without Borders and also colleagues from Education Without Backpacks in Bulgaria. To introduce this webinar, I'll start with some elements of context. So this webinar is organized in the context of an Erasmus Plus project that was launched in February 2022, so a bit less than a year and a half ago. And this project is called Can for STEM. The goal was to work on more effective and inclusive European math and science teaching with the support of the internationalized work of European Khan Academy advocates that we are at Libraries Without Borders and Education Without Backpacks. So the educative platform Khan Academy is at the heart of the project, but we discussed digital practices beyond this educative platform, as you will see it during this webinar. So in a few words, we worked with teachers, we organized workshops, we developed a toolkit that we will talk a bit more about later today. We organized training, and now today we are holding this final webinar in order to share with you what we've been working on for all this time. So today, as you can see, the theme, the theme is the power of smart digitalization in schools. We'll give you an overview of the results of our project. We'll try and share some insights and address the future actions that can be taken. Today with us, we have Michael Deger, is with us to share his views on education and digital technologies. After this discussion with Michael, Svetlana will present a successful project with Khan Academy. And then we'll end this time together with Ivan, who will talk about ChatGPT and how AI can be integrated in education. So to interact with us today, please use the comments, ask questions, react. You can access the comment section by clicking on the three dots on the lower right corner of your screen. And at the end, we'll have some time to answer some of your questions that my colleague Justine here will present. Justine is also our timekeeper today, so we'll try not to be longer than 60 minutes as it was planned. Okay, so we'll start this the first part of this webinar with Michael. I don't know if Michael is here. Yes. Hello. Thank you for being here. I'm just going to introduce you in a few words. So, Michael, you are the director of the computer science department of the Haute École Bruxelles-Brabant, so in Belgium. You are a digital pedagogy specialist, a software developer, an author, a lecturer, and a trainer. Amongst many projects, you have taken part in the development of the new pedagogical reference system called Pacte d'Excellence for the Fédération Wallonie-Bruxelles, which is the French-speaking part of Belgium. So you are wearing many hats, that allows you to have a look at different levels on the real use and interest of digital tools in addition to pedagogies. So I'm going to start with a very, very broad question. According to you, how are digital tools relevant in science education, science teaching?
First of all, hi everyone. Thank you for having me today. It's my first time in English, so my English is not perfect. I prepare my answers, so don't be surprised if I check sometimes my notes. To answer the question, based on my professional experience, there are many ways to design the integration of digital into the teacher skills. According to my personal analysis, I think that the most pragmatic approach is to present digital as an additional tool for the teacher. With a well-filled toolbox, I think that the teacher will be able to choose the best way to teach every time, whether with or without digitals. It doesn't matter, in fact. What matters is that it chooses the best pedagogy every time in relation to the knowledge and its particular context of work. I can give you maybe an example for that. We're talking about the organ, which constitute the different parts of the animals. In the context before 2000, it was not uncommon to dissect an animal in class, to discover the corresponding knowledge and to discover how works what's inside the animals, and to discover other knowledge about other animals. They used a lot of diagrams to make transfer. After 2000 and many changes in the mentalities, dissection left school classes. Obviously, I'm not talking about university, only school before. Pedagogical tools have been reduced and many teachers have focused on diagrams. Now, 20 years later, we can talk about it freely again. But why? Simply because simulation has appeared in education, helped by digital support. Today, we can dissect in a virtual, clean, and respectful way. Our toolbox is filled up again, but it's not just that. It's even gets bigger because today we can dissect collectively, if we want, on an interactive whiteboard or individually on a tablet, for example. We can differentiate too and do both at the same time. But even more impressive, we can see and manipulate what is inside a whale, for example, or a dinosaur, because everything is possible with a simulation. I'm not saying that dissection is the perfect teaching tool. I'm just expanding the list of possibilities for the teacher. It's up to him every time to make his choice and to choose the best one. So at the end, pedagogically, freedom is for me a challenge to highlight every opportunity for the teacher and for the pupils at the same time.
Thank you for this first answer. I think that the example with the dinosaur, I think you mentioned, like, is super, like, it shows really what we can do with technology today. So in the context of the project, the Erasmus Plus project, we've talked a lot with the teachers about the posture of the teacher, but some aspects that we have perhaps less addressed is also that the world is changing and especially children are changing. So in their relationship with school and the learning process, what are your views on this aspect of the changes?
Okay, let's talk about children or puppies. What are the children dreaming of becoming today? I think that the astronaut, for example, has given way to the YouTuber, or the teacher to the participants of a reality show, for example, the firefighter to the sportsman, and more. I'm obviously caricaturing a little bit, but they have all changed their dream. But those I told you, they have not all changed their dream, sorry. But I told you about one thing they have all in common. is that the school is not responsible for their success. So the YouTuber is not I think not famous because of school. The same for reality TV show and the other things. Another thing is, well, before we told to the children that the school is important for your future, you get rich working at school. These concepts are have disappeared at the same time. Another thing is going to school while mom and dad stay at home, working from home is not far for the children too. And that's not all. Imagine ourselves a pupil. My smartphone knows more than me. And ChatGPT, for example, more know-how than me too. They talk to me in class about skills, but they give me lessons as before in a transmissive way. Of course, I'm still caricaturing, but what is obvious is that the school must work on skill, like it says. The school must be motivating. The school must ensure itself in the new society. Digital is not always essential, but if it can help. Its main attraction is motivation. Learning when you are motivated is already not so bad. In any case, I prefer myself this to learning because you have to learn. I don't know you, but I hope it's the same thing for you.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for this insight. It's always interesting. Like, it's always super important also to consider both sides. Of course, that's what we did during this project, but our main participants were adults, so that was the poster of the teacher we discussed. My next question would be about the different levels of implication, I'd say. So when talking of digital skills, differences in the narrative depends on whether one is interested in European dynamics, national discourses, and the reality on the ground of teachers. Can you give us an overview, short overview of the current situation?
That's right. There are 4 levels, I think, of power that can change things in the technology in school. The largest in size is Europe. With DigiComp proposal, I think that the European Union seems to have everyone aligned. That's okay. Then come the countries. In Belgium, for example, our political system is very complicated. Education is divided into several ministers, and these are not from the same political party, so it's really complex. And forcing a decision takes time. Example, DigiComp was created in 2010, but the implementation in the French-speaking part of Belgium was in 2018, so 8 years later. The next level in Belgium is what are called the organizing power. So maybe it's easier to understand if I say school networks. This divides the school again in different groups managed separately. Catholic, communal, regional, and many more in Belgium, for example. So between 2018 and 2023, digital skills had to be adapted for everyone to make courses program in every separation. So now, 13 years later, we finally arrive in the school where we have just lost these years without training anyone. All this obviously is necessary, but it's too slow. It's inside school, I think, that change can really be made and fast, both through the relationship between direction teams and teacher, but also between teacher and pupils of school. So let's not wait. Let's be drivers of change. And that goes not only for computer science or for numerical ways, but at the same time for climate, for gender, and many more new subjects in our society.
Thanks. Well, it's kind of reassuring as well, because it means that projects like this one that we have been holding and working on for the past 18 months are useful, right? So that's a good news. So maybe I go on the definition kind of way of digital technology. So as we discussed, digital technology is getting a place in teaching practices, that's for sure. But we could say it's in two ways. So first, because the digital mastery is coming into the curriculum in Belgium officially next year. But also, and this is more what we addressed with this project Can for STEM, digital technology is changing and enriching teachers' pedagogical practices by providing them with a whole series of tools. In these two dynamics, which represent a real challenge for teachers. What is the real challenge for teachers, and how can we help them get on the digital bandwagon, according to you?
I think that teachers are caught today in a paradox. So in Belgium, for example, we have too many injunction and few real ready-to-use tools. We know everyone that these are not what we want, but with so much reform, this is what the teachers expect. We, professionals, would like to support them in the development of their practice, but with what budget and with what time. The trainers are too few in Belgium, and the learners do not have time to learn every new things in the program. So all to help them effectively, it's not simple. However, there are two things I use often to motivate them. First one, I say that digital at school is very close to learning a language. It's often reassuring to compare something new to something you know. In this case, developing a mother tongue, it's an analogy that can work. We are born into environments where most often language is present. First parallel with digital natives. It's not because we practice it that we master it. Language, like digital, are tools at the service of potentially all other disciplines at the school and same in the life. Both language and digital must now be taught to go beyond uses and understandings within families, and to allow their use to develop the rest of the skills with efficiency and simplicity. If we have succeeded in making illiteracy almost disappear, we will be able to reduce the digital divide, I think. We just have to realize that it's necessary, that's the first thing, and that's we are capable of it. Thank you of your tools, for example. Secondly, there are three ways to conceive digital in education, and I think that almost all teachers are already champions in certain areas. First way is working with digital. All the data show that teachers use digital almost every day, very regularly, and qualitatively outside the classroom. They prepare courses and educational tools, exchange with colleagues, and also make monitoring tables, for example. The next step is to teach with digital technology. The figures show us that the desire is more and more perceptible, and that what is lacking at the moment is training and, of course, equipment. They are coming, I'm sure. But at this moment, you have to take the lead or wait, or if you are in Belgium. Finally, teach digital, which means to teach something that has not been learned by yourself. Well, but in reality, what happiness? It is an opportunity to innovate and to show off the superpowers of teachers. Just take a scroll on Twitter to see the hundreds of great ideas that appear each week. Teaching is not imitating the teaching we have received. It is, as already said, rethinking daily what are we going to teach and how we are going to teach it, with regard to the context in which we are, of course, located.
Thanks. Thank you. I really like the comparison between learning a language and learning how to use digital tools. I see that we are almost running out of time for this part, so I'll ask the last question. And it was, can you share with us a promising technology or at least an example of use that you are particularly excited or thrilled about?
Of course. At this time, I'm very interested in everything about simulation. Of course, only if concrete action is impossible. Simulate becomes, in my opinion, almost a new obligatory step in the scientific process. Today, we can design and test almost everything. We can experience the unimaginable. Design a vegetable garden on Mars, for example, simulate resuscitation, plants in virtually very climatic conditions, etc. If that makes you think that is the tomorrow's world, but you're wrong. We recently worked in a school for future truck drivers. These children between the age of 15 and 18 train on private land with a single truck. We have installed driving simulators there. Today, they are still doing real training, of course, but they have also multiplied their practice time by 6 using the simulation. Simulating also means using AI, for example, AI to boost creativity and to attempt the impossible. If you tried maybe to write on ChatGPT, for example, hello AI, what's the first emergency to save our planet? What can students do to help? And can you maybe simulate the effect if every children of our school apply your recommendation? You can be surprised. You can have good surprise and good possibilities to do things, new things with your pupils in the classroom.
Thank you. All of this was super interesting. Really, thank you very much, Michael, for being with us today. So, as a very, very quick conclusion, I'd say that we need local initiatives. Things are moving at a European level and national level, but at very different path. And initiatives as also to come from teachers and schools, etc. Digital skills are part of the future. So if we think of it as a language, we need, if we learn French, we need to learn French before learning mathematics into French. So that's also the idea we can have with digital tools. So thank you very much again. And I'll give the floor to Svetlana, who's going to talk about LearnStorm and a successful activity with Khan Academy.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can see and hear me quite well. Just give me a sign that you can hear me and you can see me. Okay, thank you so much. So let me introduce myself. Firstly, my name is Svetlana Goranova, and for a long time, my passion has been mathematics. As a co-founder of the educational initiative Fun Mathematics based in Bulgaria, and now as an educational expert in one of the 2 host organizations that is organizing this event, namely Education Without Backpacks. So my role today is to present you one very successful educational digital activity, which is engaging, absolutely free, effective, and fun. The activity is based on the online platform Khan Academy. And now I want to ask you, have you heard about Khan Academy? Maybe for lots of people, this would be a silly question, but let me say a few words about it. So now I will start also presenting something here. Just Svetlana, mute yourself. You're muted. Okay. Just a moment again. Yeah. Okay, cool. So Khan Academy is not just a regular site. It is a platform. The mission of Khan is to provide a free world-class education for anyone, everywhere. It is a personalized learning resource for all ages. What it offers practice exercises, articles, instructional videos, and a personalized learning dashboard that empowers learners to study at their own pace in and outside of the classroom. So what can you learn through Khan Academy? Actually, you can study math, science, computing, history, art history, lots of things. And, you know, it's been translated into 36 languages, which means that you can check the platform in your country by here, just changing the prefix. I'll show you. For example, for the Bulgarian version, you just put BG, and I hope you can follow. Yeah, so now it's in Bulgarian now. And yeah, for example, you can check a lot of resources. So here are the Bulgarian versions. But as I said, you can check for mathematics, science, even financials, even health and medicine. So a lot of materials. And now I'll show you. Yes, one thing which is really also important is that the platform is based on the system for full comprehension of the necessary skills, the so-called mastery learning. So, for example, I choose a class here in my teacher's dashboard, and you can see here on the left-hand side, it's course mastery. So, just a few words about this teacher's dashboard. So, once you register as a teacher, you have your, so this is how it looks, the dashboard, and you have your classes here on the left-hand side. You can add a new class here. You can see your students. Yeah, and the most importantly, actually, you can assign tasks for the class. So if you want to see more information, you can check here in the help center. As I said, it is absolutely free, and you can also reach it in your language. So now I would like to turn to the activity, which I mentioned is the goal of my presentation now. The Sofia Science Festival is a favorite event every year, which happens to bring educators, students, parents in one place. This year we organized a workshop on Khan Academy and LearnStorm. I'm going to show you shortly what is LearnStorm for several classes of 3rd and 4th grade. So what do you need for this activity? For this activity, you need mobile devices for every student, or a computer for every student, and a computer with a projector for the teacher. And then you divide the class into 2 groups. Here I made 2 groups, koalas and pandas. So I split my class into 2 groups. Now this is just an example class which I did just to show you how it works. So I make here a new class, yeah, and then this is what happened is that I created these 2 classes. So let me see the koala class. When I press the koala class, what I see is now here I see the assignment scores, but I can check, for example, my students. This is the list of my students. And what I use mostly is the scores, where I see the scores of my students. Assign button. So in the assign button, I can assign any exercise I want to assign. So what I did in this challenge during the Sofia Science Festival is that we divided the class into 2 groups, koalas and pandas, and we gave them a 30 minutes challenge, which means that we assigned different exercises to the class. For example, I may choose this one, or this is a whole unit, so this is a lot of work. So you see there's 29 tasks here, which would definitely be solved for much more than 30 minutes. But let's say, for example, you assign 5 or 6 exercises. And then the class is dealing with these exercises. And while they're dealing with these exercises, you can go to scores and you can see how each of the students is doing. And this is what it shows, 80%. So it means they might have made one mistake, or well, it could be even less, of course. And 100%, it means it's absolutely right. So what happens after that is that when the 30 minutes is over, I say, okay, students, now is the time to see whose team made better. And now the tool called LearnStorm comes on stage. What does it show? You know, you see this visualization of rings. Actually, every ring represents a certain amount of skills obtained while solving the tasks. And what is more important here is that Khan Academy is based on skills, on obtaining skills, and to a mastery level. So this is why we call this mastery challenge, because the idea of the mastery challenge is to fully master the material before moving on, periodically reviewing skills already learned and catching up on gaps. So when I press check for progress, I will see that the ring starts appearing, which creates a bit of excitement, tension, and they become very impatient to see where the rings will stop, in which ring will stop. So yeah, now I would like to ask my colleague to show a video which will actually show you the result of such a tool of the LearnStorm. There will be different videos from different settings, different classes, where children just wait for the result after they have completed their tasks, and you will see the joy and inspiration which they have from the task. And now, before that, I want to show you here, check for progress. And this is actually what we do in the two groups simultaneously, seeing which group has achieved more. So my children have already worked, and I want to check the progress for this group. Let me see, check for progress. And you see how the rings are appearing one by one. And of course, this is shown in a big screen in front of the whole class. Everybody is seeing that. Everybody is seeing how their own efforts actually contributes to the results of the whole group, of the whole class. And so this is why it's collaborative. Wow, okay, we have the one ring, and let's just check if there's another ring here. Yeah, as I said, every effort of a single kid, of a single student, contributes to the whole group, to the process of the whole group. That is why it is very engaging for the whole class, and you see that this could be also a very motivational tool to study more and more. Okay, so I think now we have not much left here, and after that we'll show you a video of the reaction of the children. Okay. So I believe this could continue a long time. So I'll stop now and ask my colleague to show you the video.
Okay, you ready to check our progress? Yeah. All right, here we go.
Okay, thanks so much for this video. Well, the team that won the more scores got a prize in the end, but the other team also got something, so they were all very happy. But most importantly, the teacher shared that she could assign tasks to her students during the summer so that kids can improve their skills. So as I said, it's absolutely free. It's easy to use, and there are a lot of materials that could be assigned. So I hope that this short presentation gives you a glimpse of what is possible to happen in your classroom. And now I would like to say that Khan Academy is not now even more personalized with the artificial intelligence feature, which is called Khanmigo. It is not surprising that the artificial intelligence goes more into education. So my dear colleague Ivan Gospodinov will share with you the most important novelties in the sphere of artificial intelligence, namely the platform ChatGPT. Is it true, Ivan? That we can write poems or summarize books using the ChatGPT? Maybe most of you know about it, but what is it that we might still don't know? Ivan, share please with us.
Well, I think there are a lot of things that are still unknown. I really hope that the next school year will be more informed as to what we can do with AI and artificial intelligence. But for instance, what's interesting about Khanmigo, the chatbot that Khan Academy tries to develop, is that it will mostly ask questions to the students. So in a bit, we'll show you a video of how you can use chatbots, particularly ChatGPT, as teachers. We decided to do it in a video because of not to risk any internet connection or to make it a bit faster and a bit more compact. But still, I think that there will be a lot of new educational functions developed with chatbots. There are other platforms, educational, which also add chatbots. For instance, imagine entering an educational platform, making a test of some sort or formulating questions for your students, and then just clicking on a button that says, give me a suggestion or something like that, or edit my question so that it sounds more simple to kids, etc., etc. So there's a lot of ways to, let's say, manipulate the chatbots so that they give you interesting material with which you can work with your children and students on variety of topics. So I've covered much of this in the following video. I think we should just play it now and don't waste much more time.
So now I want to show you how you can use ChatGPT as teachers in order to create different types of learning material, learning activities, etc. Actually, you can make a lot of things with ChatGPT. If you're still not familiar with it, so make sure to register and try it out. This is the free version that I'm going to show you, and it works completely fine. Keep in mind that your students probably already know about it and use it. So for the next school year, it will be really good to figure out how in your classroom such an instrument can be used in a constructive way. So let's start now with a 50-minute lesson for the Pythagorean theorem. You can add a really detailed question or request for the ChatGPT, as much as more detail you give it, it gives better answers. But still, I will go with something somewhat general. So now it will write this 50-minute lesson. And how would it do it? Well, keep in mind that it has access to all kinds of internet content. So basically, you can think about ChatGPT and other such chatbots as a new way to browse the internet or a new way to search through the internet. What this basically means is that ChatGPT, actually most people call it a language model artificial intelligence, which means that it basically combines words really well. So if you are wondering if it will give you a good answer to what you ask ChatGPT, think about if there are enough texts on the internet that will actually be helpful for the chatbot to make sense of what you're asking it to do. Now I want to show you how you can expand this lesson plan to get more resources that might be useful. So for instance, gather the students for a class discussion to summarize the key points covered in the lesson. Let's see now. I will ask ChatGPT to give me talking points for the following activity. So, meaning that any kind of discussions you want to have with your students, you can ask ChatGPT to give you a list of questions that might be useful for this discussion. So let's see, it's quite detailed, so I will not be able to go through it, but basically it gives us hints as to what kind of aspects of the Pythagorean theorem we can ask students about. Now, I decided to pick the Pythagorean theorem because I've often heard the sentence, well, why do students learn the Pythagorean theorem? Why do we study this at all, etc., etc.? Why would we use it, and when will we use it in life? So a good way to use ChatGPT is to ask it. So let's see, give me examples of real life uses of the theorem. Make them interesting for students, let's say. So basically it will give us insight into how some careers might use the Pythagorean theorem, or how in some technologies the theorem is used, but again it's something that is often a hard question in the classroom. Why are we learning a particular concept? So ChatGPT can make these conversations a bit more structured and a bit more easier for us teachers as well. I am myself not always sure how to answer this question to my students, but ChatGPT could nevertheless help us. Now, let's say that you want to make it a bit more interesting or more narrative-like. Let's say, how would Pythagoras explain the importance of his theorem to children? Let's see now. You can also ask ChatGPT to make conversations between different scientists or historical figures, as long as you give it a good amount of detail. It could make the conversations interesting. What I mean here is that if you, for instance, want to compare two scientists, it would be good to add to the prompt or to the request which topic they should discuss, or should they argue about it, or should they have a normal conversation about it without any hard arguments, or etc., etc. So you can make all kinds of scripts, let's say, even if you want to have let's say a 3-minute lecture in front of your students with something interesting about the theorem or any other topic, you could also ask the chatbot to write a short speech, so to speak. Now, of course, we can also use it for more simple requests, such as, let's see, make a test with multiple choices. for the theorem. And of course, I mean, if you want open questions, it will give you open questions, etc., etc. You see how it goes. It basically, again, combines words and ideas really well, as long as it has enough databases from the internet from which it can draw its conclusions and its results. Let's see now. By the way, keep in mind that if you want a really long test, you can also ask to write 20 questions, 50 questions, 100 questions. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes it might stop at some point. Keep in mind that this is probably because a lot of people are using it right now. So if you just ask the chatbot to continue, it will try to make sense what you mean, and it will continue. Let's see what it will write now. Okay, more tests. But the point was that if it stops at some sentence, you can make it finish the sentence or the whole paragraph, etc., etc. Another thing you should know is that you can ask ChatGPT to edit some of those texts. Let's say you might ask it to use simple terms, or you can ask him to use more complex terms, to write it as if for kindergarten children or for professors, etc., etc. So you can make it write all kinds of text, or at least try to write all kinds of text. Keep in mind that, of course, sometimes if you let's say want too complex or too specific things from the chatbot, it can sound really what's the word, persuasive, really authoritative about not quite true things. Some people also call this hallucinating, when the chatbot just talks nonsense. For instance, sometimes if you ask it to tell you more about what's written in a book, it could end up just creating new chapters of the book and creating a new storyline just to sound authoritative enough. Okay, I hope that this was interesting for you. Of course, you could imagine how many other uses it has. Again, it could create games, it can create steps that students need to take in order to make a project, a scientific project. If you ask it to make you scientific projects, it will also give you a lot of ideas. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that you try it out. Really, the best way to learn how to use ChatGPT is just to play with it, just to ask it if you wish meaningless questions, and you will get how it works. It really takes some time. Keep in mind that, again, all kinds of internet content that can be found in large databases is resource for the chatbot, meaning that it can create also theater plays, it can create songs, poetry, movie scripts, etc., etc. Whatever is in written text. Of course, there are other AIs which work with images, videos, etc. To be honest, next school year will probably be a bit more exciting and a bit more stressing as well. But still, it's not something that we can just ban from schools, in the sense that this really is a new way to search the internet, and it's up to us as teachers, and our students, of course, should participate in this to figure out how to use this in a really meaningful way, so that we learn with it and we don't just use it to avoid learning. Thank you.
Well, I really hope that this was interesting for you. I think at the end I will try to say some more words about AI and education. So I will give now the word back to Svetlana.
Thank you, Ivan. It was really interesting for me, although I've seen all these things, but always I learn something new from you. So thank you so much. Yeah, and now I would like to give the word to our time and question smiley person, Justine.
And that is me, yes. Everyone. First of all, I would like to encourage anyone in the public to put in their questions or remarks in the chat. Feel free to voice it out. And if we don't have time to answer your questions, of course, we can work on a way to provide you with some extra elements after the conference. Actually, I saw a comment a few minutes ago mentioning how tools like ChatGPT seem kind of exciting to a lot of students and potentially to also a few teachers already. But there are also some teachers that feel like these tools are really part of the future and so remote from the reality of today. I think one of the highlights in the Canva STEM project, a really key element, was the idea that teachers can help one another in this dynamic. And so I guess one question could be how, as a teacher who is excited about these technologies, how can I help my fellow teachers? How to create an effect of community and to better share those solutions? If anyone wants to jump in, the floor is yours.
Well, if we are talking about AI and ChatGPT, it can actually answer this question in a sense. It can provide ideas for how to structure a conversation or a group discussion with other teachers. It can actually help you also write a first email invitation for other teachers. So that would be one thing. And I really think that telling other colleagues about what you have done with a particular instrument and actually showing them is probably the best thing to do. So you just really need a laptop, you open ChatGPT, and if someone hasn't seen it yet, then they will surely be amazed. And again, our students know about ChatGPT and use it, so we also need to get on track.
Okay, so probably lead by example and with concrete cases, concrete examples on how to use it in the classroom. I see a question that is about the potential ways of checking if student work was created in ChatGPT. I think it's a big question that's getting asked around right now. As to kind of prolong on this question. One thing could be also like, so basically, how do you encourage your students to use tools like this one, not just as a way to get massive amounts of information and just copy them into their work, but really use it in a creative kind of way?
Yeah, well, I think that there is a specific way to make instructions so that students have to do a task with ChatGPT. Let me think of an example. So, well, for instance, if students are working on a scientific project, it really will be helpful to ask the chatbot to give them some steps and some things to do one after the other. So it's not all about it's not so much about the creative thing, but more about how to organize and structure your project, because this is also important in order to have meaningful results. Another way to use it would be to try and analyze and criticize the results of ChatGPT, or trying to say something more or say something more precisely. So, for instance, it's if you ask ChatGPT to solve a math problem, I'm not sure how much this has been dealt with by now, but a year ago it was really bad at solving math problems. So this made it easy for teachers in physics and in math to use it in order for their students to try and figure out what's the error and what should be corrected. So there is also a way to use it in order to criticize it or say something more about a subject than the chatbot would. Now, how do we know if a student has used a chatbot? Well, it's really hard to know. For one thing, a bit of intuition helps. So the chatbot really gives the most general and balanced answer there could be, even to the point of missing some details and specifics about, let's say, a particular a philosopher or a writer, etc., etc. So it would be easy to spot if a student's work sounds like a Wikipedian article. That's one thing. A second option would be to ask ChatGPT if it wrote this text. Now, sometimes it says yes, sometimes it says it looks like as if it has been written by a chatbot, but I still don't trust it. Now, some of my students, they have told me that they have used the chatbot to enhance their writing, so that to edit them, let's say, or add something to them with the help of the chatbot. And this is hard to spot. And another thing is that even when those, let's say, there are also websites that claim that they can spot a ChatGPT text, but they're also not that that good at it. But even if such websites begin to catch ChatGPT text, then students still can use ChatGPT to manipulate those texts even more. As I said in the clip, you could ask ChatGPT to write a particular sentence in better English language, in worse English language, with grammatical errors. It could, if you put effort into it, you can really make it not in any sense different than a student would write it. So in this sense, I think that the best bet so far is to try and figure out what kind of tasks and instructions can be done with using ChatGPT, and not trying to avoid it, just putting students in the position to have to figure out how to learn with ChatGPT and not how to avoid learning with it.
Thank you so much. I see a lot of comments and a lot of questions in this chat section. I've seen one or two about the use of AI on Khan Academy. I will actually post a little link towards a video developing a little bit more on that specific topic in the chat section in a few seconds. But I am now giving the mic back so that we can have a little conclusion for this conference. The time has the time flew. Yes, time flew fast, so we hope you were inspired. But for our conclusive words, I'll let Charlotte and Ivan maybe take the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Justine. Ivan, I'll just say a quick word regarding the ambassadors and the toolkit. So as you may have understood, this project was aimed at creating a kind of, not going to say a safe space, but at least a space where teachers can feel at ease and find information thanks to a toolkit, but also thanks to a network. So the idea was to create really a network of teachers between Belgium and Bulgaria, but also outside of those two countries in Europe. So to do so, we really encourage you to have a look at our toolkit that you will receive as a follow-up to this webinar. The toolkit is available in English, in French, and in Bulgarian. And you'll find a lot of like our contact if you want to contact us at Libraries Without Borders or at Education Without Backpack. And that's for the practical info, and I let Ivan have the final word of this super interesting moment we just shared.
Well, thank you very much. What I wanted to address at the end is again related to AI, and more or less the question, well, is it possible that teachers get substituted by an AI? Is it possible that at some point chatbots will be more useful to students than actual conversations with teachers? And there are a couple of very drastic differences between what AI can do and what a teacher is. And the first thing is, for instance, the teacher is, after all, an example, a living being, a person with biography, history, as someone who has ideas, dreams, who had experiences of all sorts. So a student, I mean, all students will still be incapable of dreaming that they one day speak like or think like a chatbot. They really need a human example of how to live this life, and why do particular academic terms make sense, and why should we learn this and that. So the first thing is, AI would never be an example as far as what a human can be or should be. The second thing is, AI wouldn't take any risks or wouldn't really make any life choices instead of us. So at the end of the day, whatever someone searches for in a chatbot, the decision what to do next will be their own personal decision. And this is something that we need to tell students, because for them, growing up with such a tool begs the question, well, why should I write any text when this tool can do it for me? Why should I write even poetry when this tool can do it for me? But there are a lot of reasons why. And it's said broadly, it's because we are human. It's because this is what we experience. The chatbot does not experience this. It doesn't make him happy or something like that. So it doesn't really matter. But what really matters is that our students would nevertheless need to be more and do more than a chatbot, because on the working space or on the working place, the question, why shouldn't I use a chatbot, or instead of hiring someone to do similar task, will be a very common question in the next years. So we need to inspire and encourage our students to actually try to be more creative than what the chatbot can give as a result, to try and always think about what more can be done or said or claimed or written in beautiful words, etc., etc. I really think that a lot of students would be finding hard to motivate themselves to actually try and compete with this very intelligent device. But still, it's our job to figure out how to actually end up with a better educational system, and not in a crisis of some sort. Well, I guess, yeah, thank you very much.
So thank you, everyone, I guess, and see you soon.
Thank you, everyone, for taking part. It will be available in replay in case you want to check some information later.
Or send it to someone, of course.
Yes. Rewatch or share. Thank you, and good evening to everyone from Bulgaria to Belgium. Bye.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.